A lifeline cut off. The Rafah corridor under Israeli control. The Gaza Strip, a densely populated Palestinian territory, shares a crucial lifeline with the outside world, the Rafah border crossing with Egypt. This narrow corridor represents the only pathway for Palestinians in Gaza to enter and exit the territory without passing through Israeli checkpoints. Its significance cannot be overstated, serving as a vital artery for the flow of people, goods, and humanitarian aid. However, the recent escalation in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict has brought the Rafah corridor under Israeli control, raising significant concerns about the humanitarian situation in Gaza and the broader geopolitical landscape in the Middle East. The seizure of the Rafah corridor is a pivotal development in the ongoing conflict, with far-reaching implications for both Palestinians and Israelis. This strategic maneuver by Israel effectively cuts off Gaza from the outside world, further isolating the already besieged territory. The consequences of this action are likely to be severe, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis in Gaza and potentially igniting further unrest in the region. The international community has expressed deep concern over the situation in Gaza, calling for restraint and a swift resolution to the conflict. However, with the Rafah corridor now under Israeli control, the dynamics of the conflict have shifted significantly, making a peaceful resolution even more elusive. The coming days and weeks will be critical in determining the fate of Gaza and the stability of the entire region. The Gaza Strip, where tensions run high. The Gaza Strip is a densely populated Palestinian territory located on the eastern coast of the Mediterranean Sea. Bordered by Israel to the east and north and Egypt to the south, Gaza has been a focal point of conflict for decades. The territory is home to over 2 million Palestinians, many of whom live in poverty and face severe restrictions on their movement and access to basic necessities. The ongoing conflict with Israel has resulted in recurring cycles of violence, displacement, and destruction, leaving deep scars on the Palestinian population. Gaza's economy is in a state of collapse, largely due to the Israeli blockade that has been in place since 2007. The blockade severely restricts the flow of goods and people in and out of Gaza, crippling its economy and hindering its development. The unemployment rate in Gaza is among the highest in the world, and the majority of the population relies on humanitarian aid for survival. The recent escalation in violence has only worsened the already dire humanitarian situation, pushing Gaza to the brink of collapse. The Rafah crossing with Egypt has served as a lifeline for Gaza, providing a vital link to the outside world. However, with Israel now in control of the crossing, the flow of essential goods and humanitarian aid into Gaza is at risk of being severely disrupted. This could have devastating consequences for the Palestinian population, further exacerbating the humanitarian crisis in the territory. A power play Israel's strategic maneuver. Israel's seizure of the Rafah corridor is a strategic maneuver with significant implications for its security and regional influence. By controlling this crucial border crossing, Israel aims to tighten its grip on Gaza, further isolating the territory and weakening its ruling party, Hamas. The move is also intended to send a strong message to Hamas and other Palestinian militant groups operating in Gaza, demonstrating Israel's military superiority and its determination to maintain security in the region. However, this strategic maneuver comes at a cost. The seizure of the Rafah corridor is likely to draw international condemnation and could further isolate Israel on the world stage. It also risks escalating tensions with Egypt, which has traditionally played a mediating role in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Moreover, by tightening its control over Gaza, Israel risks further radicalizing the Palestinian population and fueling anti-Israel sentiment in the region. The move could backfire, leading to increased support for Hamas and other militant groups, and potentially igniting a new wave of violence. Israel's actions must be seen within the broader context of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which has been characterized by mistrust, violence, and a lack of political progress. The seizure of the Rafah corridor is likely to further complicate efforts to find a peaceful solution to this long-standing conflict. Section 4. Ripple Effects. Regional and Global Implications. The ramifications of Israel's actions extend far beyond the borders of Gaza, sending shockwaves through the region and the international community. The seizure of the Rafah corridor has heightened tensions with Egypt, a key regional player and a crucial mediator in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Egypt has condemned Israel's actions, warning of the potential for further destabilization in the region. This move also threatens to undermine the fragile peace treaty between Israel and Egypt, which has been a cornerstone of regional stability for over 4 decades. The international community has expressed deep concern over the situation in Gaza, calling for restraint and a swift resolution to the conflict. The United Nations has condemned the violence and called for an immediate ceasefire, warning of a humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza. The European Union has also expressed its concern, urging all parties to exercise restraint and seek a political solution to the conflict. Even the United States, a staunch ally of Israel, has called for calm, but has stopped short of condemning Israel's actions. The seizure of the Rafah corridor has further complicated the already complex geopolitical landscape in the Middle East. The move has the potential to fuel anti-Israel sentiment in the region, emboldening extremist groups and undermining moderate voices. It also threatens to derail international efforts to revive the peace process between Israel and the Palestinians. The coming days and weeks will be crucial in determining the trajectory of the conflict and its implications for the region and the wider world. Section 5. A murky future, peace prospects, and potential escalation. The road ahead for Gaza and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains fraught with uncertainty and peril. The seizure of the Rafah corridor has cast a long shadow over the prospects for peace, further dimming the hopes for a negotiated settlement to this protracted conflict. With the humanitarian situation in Gaza deteriorating rapidly and the risk of further escalation looming large, the international community faces a daunting challenge in finding a path towards a just and lasting resolution. The immediate priority must be to address the dire humanitarian crisis unfolding in Gaza. The international community must work together to ensure the unimpeded flow of humanitarian aid and essential goods into the territory, providing urgent assistance to the beleaguered Palestinian population. Failure to do so will have catastrophic consequences, exacerbating the suffering of innocent civilians and further fueling the cycle of violence. However, addressing the humanitarian crisis is only the first step. A sustainable solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict requires a fundamental shift in the political dynamics, a departure from the cycle of violence and mistrust that has plagued the region for decades. This will require courageous leadership from both sides, a willingness to engage in meaningful dialogue, and a commitment to finding common ground. The path to peace will be long and arduous, but the alternative is unthinkable. The international community must remain actively engaged, urging both sides to choose the path of dialogue and diplomacy over violence and destruction. The fate of millions of Israelis and Palestinians hangs in the balance, and the time for action is now.